Hey, everybody, welcome back. Mónica Torres. Muchos años. Tantos. All right. Hey, everyone. Turn on your cameras, please. So good to see all of you. So I was really excited to get really far in this course last time. And literally in 10 classes, we only did one of Geshe Michael's classes. It took us a lot longer than I expected. I mean, quite honestly, I think it's okay. I think it's okay that we're just going to take our time and move our way through this book. It took 14 years. We're going to be finishing this book with Geshe Michael in Kyoto in December. And we're going to have a big celebration party after 14 years of studying. We have 3 more perfections left. And then we'll be done with the book and we're going to then move on to something else. Mainly a study of emptiness from Gompa Robsell, the illumination of true thought, Jason Kapa's enormous study on emptiness. So I think it's always useful for us to maybe review a little bit where we were so that we can understand where we're going now. So for those of you who are new to the class, don't worry. It'll just, you'll catch up really fast. So what we're studying does anyone remember the name of the book in Tibetan? Does anyone remember the name of the book in Tibetan that we're studying? How about the name of the book in English? Let's start there. Anyone? Wow. You're all going to embarrass me. You're all just going to embarrass me. You're going to be like, oh, I'm studying with Tim. Oh, what are you studying? And you're just going to stand there and like pick your nose. I don't know. Come on. Okay. That's the gift of liberation. Or Namdro Lakchang. The gift of liberation thrust into the palm of your hand. Like liberation that's being given to you into your hand, right? And the way this was originally a 24-day teaching. And then it was written down by Paboka Rinpoche in the 1920s. And then his student, Trijang Rinpoche, wrote it down. Spent many, many years perfecting the essentially the transcript of the class. Well, hello, whiteboard. Who are you? Let's just close that. There you go. And so what we're doing first in our study is we're studying the meditation chapter, which is chapter 22, I believe. 22, 23. I think it's, I have to remember. It's near the end of the book. And so what we're doing first is that we're learning all the skills that we're going to need to be able to do the content of the rest of the book. And the content of the rest of the book is all the steps on the path from the beginning to the end. And the way that it was originally taught in 24 days is that the whole thing is you learn all the theory and then you learn the skill to do it, which is the meditation and the emptiness. But the way we're going to learn it is we're going to learn the skills first. We're going to learn the tool of emptiness first. Excuse me, the tool of meditation first. And then that tool applied with emptiness will then help us advance along very quickly. Because you already have, allegedly, if you practice, will have developed the skills necessary to be able to have the realizations in the rest of the book. So in that way, we're learning how to meditate first, and we're learning all the finer points of meditation so that you can recognize where you are in meditation. It's a useful skill to be able to sit down, and when you meditate and you close your eyes and you get going, to be able to tell where you are. Where are you? Like, what's going on in the meditation? Are you too distracted? Are you too dull? How good is the concentration? What changes or adjustments do I need to make to keep the meditation going? And those all come from practice. So if you understand what's going to happen, then when it does happen, you can say, oh, that's that. And now I'm supposed to make this adjustment, or I'm not supposed to make this adjustment. You see? So if you understand what it's all going to look like in general, then you can progress really quickly if you practice. Okay. If you practice. So that's where we are in this book, is that we're learning all the things you need to learn about meditation so that you can develop a really good meditation practice and hopefully get to a place of tingyin, a place of single point and concentration, where you're focused on one thing only. And then you can bring up an experience of shamatha. Okay. That's the experience of shine. And then you can then, under that powerful, we'll say, microscope, or that powerful capacity to meditate well, then you put a really cool object there, or lack of an object. You put emptiness there. You put your understanding of wisdom onto that little dish, right? So you're looking at, with your meditation, how the world becomes the world for you. You start looking at how seeds work. You start looking at how karma works for you. And you start looking at how all these things ripen for you. And then you start understanding the fabric of reality and how to break that apart. You see. So if you learn the tool, and meditation is merely a tool, it has a lot of other benefits, which we'll talk about later, but it's the tool to get there. So let me just go into my notes so I don't screw this up. So in this chapter, there's a whole bunch of things we're doing. There's 6 main parts to this meditation chapter. The first part was what we did in the entire last term, which are the conditions you need to be able to start your meditation. And you can watch all of those again. We'll review it very quickly. And then in this class, we're going to be doing the actual instructions for getting to shamatha, getting to quietude, getting to shine. What are the things that we need to do to get there? And we'll see how far we get in this class. And then we're going to start moving into the different states of mind, the different powers, the different types of focus, and then what shamatha actually looks like. So what we're doing is we're building a whole toolkit where first we start with, here are the 6 conditions. These are the 6 things you need to have ready. 6 or 5? I think they're 6. They're 6, right? And then we're going to get started today on the actual, how do you start meditating? What are the things that we're supposed to do? So in any good Buddhist class or any good class, we're going to review briefly what we learned previously so then we can move forward. So there's six main, I don't know, 6 main conditions for meditation. All right. The first one is called, very nicely, the right place. The right place to do meditation. And fun, as we always do in the Galupa tradition, there's 5 qualities of this first one. So there's a list of 6. We're in the first one, and the first one has 5. You'll get used to it. So the right place has 5 qualities or 5 conditions. And what are they? Does anyone remember? I know it was so long ago. And you should have gotten your meditation place ready that you're automatically doing all this now. Not really, Persis. Kind of safety. Safety is a nice one. That's one of them. It needs to be a safe place. All right. There we go. Okay. Wonderful. You guys are kind of like, now you're warming up. You're just starting to remember. I know. It's like, get the lawnmower started, right? The first one is things are easy to obtain, right? And it also means not just that they're easy to obtain, but that they're obtained ethically. Okay. The second one is called we called it a safe place, but we can also call it a pure place. A place where there aren't lots of animals, there aren't lots of distractions, it's a place where people have meditated before, right? That's mainly what it means, is a pure place. Then you have a good place, right? Which is a little bit different, right? A pure place would be a place where people have meditated before and have charged it up. A good location is going to be a place that's not too loud. It's not too, there's not a lot of distractions. Then we have a place that has good companions, right? Where, you have other people who are meditating with you. They're not taking you out to the nightclub unless it's the mixed nuts good night club, reading club, right? But you're not have people who are distracting you with the people who are around you are like, hey, let's go meditate, right? The people around you are like, let's go do Dharma practices. Let's go sit on Zoom and watch a class, right? Let's go do all these things together, right? And that's kind of, it's hard when you have a lot of people around you who don't want to do the same things that you do, right? Hold on a second here. I'm just looking at my notes real quick. Pure plays. Okay, cool. And what was the 6th one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the fifth one, excuse me. Yeah, we're blessed with all the needs of a deep practitioner. I want to go back and just clarify what I said because I said it incorrectly. A good place is a place that does not, it's not too hot or too cold. Okay. Or a place that'll make us sick, right? Everything there should be okay. Like the water is okay, the environment is okay. Right? Where I'm saying that something is a good place, a pure place, excuse me, is where things there's no like there's not robbers or spirits or things like that. Okay, I just want to make sure we have it correct. All right. A pure place is a place where there's not robbers or food or lions and tigers and bears, right? A good place is a place that we consider like not too hot, not too cold. The water is not going to poison you, things like that. So it's a little bit different. So mainly what we're trying to do is we're trying to create the perfect environment, which we understood is the perfect environment is also a thing that comes from, seeds as well. So the environment has to be correct. The second thing about getting your meditation space ready, your meditation ready, is that you need to keep your wants few. Like you don't need lots of things. I mean, if you're meditating a lot, what do you need? Right? Get it? Like you don't need a lot of things to meditate. You need a nice cushion. You don't need 12 televisions and 10 cars. All right. But this is more like the more that you want, the more you'll be distracted in meditation, mainly. That's what it's talking about. And then the third one is called cultivating satisfaction, which means be happy with what you do have. Right? We have this thing as humans that we always want more. We want more. We want more. So, but if you really look around you, like I got back from, I've been gone almost a month. Well, maybe 3 weeks. In my house, they finally put the floor in, if anyone cares. Yay. 2 years of no floor. Got the floor. There it is. Oops, there's my yoga mat. That's not me showing off. But there's the floor. Okay. Um, but I'm looking around I had to move everything to put the floors in. And all the stuff is in a pile in the other room. And I'm realizing, God, I have too much stuff. Right. I have too many things in here. There's no reason for all of this. Like I'm looking over here in my kitchen. I'm like, I have 10 bowls. I don't need 10 bowls. Right. Keep your wants few, but then be happy with what you have. Yeah, I have 10 bowls. They don't really match. Like none of my kitchen stuff matches. Right. But I got kitchen stuff. Right. So it's okay. Like I don't have to. I was actually worried about it the other day. I was like, none of this matches. Maybe I should get matching stuff. And I caught myself. I'm like, yeah, you could get matching stuff, Tim, or just keep using the stuff that you have that works just fine. The bowls work fine, right? And that's now if you're getting now, there's other motivations to get matching things, but we'll talk about that in ACI course 24 or something like that. Okay. But, my bowls are fine, and don't buy me new bowls. I don't need more bowls. Okay. But be happy with what you do have. I have a house. I have a car. I have some really good friends. I don't need much more than what I have. The fourth thing in getting ready, and this is the most important, is that leading a very ethical way of life. This is what's going to give you the power to meditate well. Being able to, if you live an ethical life, then you won't be bothered by the things that you did. You see, the things that you did will have been good. So you won't have to think about them anymore. You don't have to worry about whether you hurt somebody or not. You don't have to worry about, oh, I've been lying and I have to make sure the story stays accurate. I don't have to like manage all of that energy because I didn't lie. Right. And so then those things don't come up in meditation. Right. You don't have to like, if you're worried about maintaining a lie or maintaining a story that's not true, it'll show up in your meditation in some way. So leading a good life, a good ethical life, will allow you to be able to be fully concentrated. Will be able to focus, and then you won't have as many distractions. The fifth thing is giving up busyness, which means in some way giving up doing too much. And this is hard for a lot of us Dharma practitioners. All right. It's because we want to help people. Oh, I want to be a bodhisattva. Oh, I want to help people. Oh, I want to do this. Monica, what do you keep throwing at somebody? She's like throwing slippers at something. Your dog loves you. um, but give up doing things that I would look at it this way. One is we've had this talk before. Don't work so hard that you become an afflicted bodhisattva. Or, oh, I have to help everybody in the world. And if I don't, I'm not a good person. Okay, that's a one type of bodhisattva. That's an afflicted bodhisattva. But give up doing things that don't have meaning. And then the last one is letting go of your random thoughts. And it mainly means letting go of the random thoughts of wanting things, which is different than keeping your wants few. It's a different type of mental state. And you got to think about what it is. But if you think about how impermanent everything is, if you think about the problems of you wanting things, this will help you let go of wanting. And it doesn't mean, again, doesn't mean don't get good things. It doesn't mean don't get, you have to take care of yourself. But it's the excessive wanting. It's the excessiveness of things. Is that excessiveness, like, this is why I like the Good Night Book Club. Like, I put my computer down, I put my phone down, and then I refuse to look at it. You know, how often, like, how easy is it to then want to see what's happening on Instagram? You know, what's happening today in the Donald Trump trial in New York? Let's find out. Right? It's like, oh, well, that's interesting. Well, what's happening with Joe Biden today? I'm just talking about American politics, right? And then it's like, you know, what are then people saying about it? You know, oh, let me go look at a meme about this. Oh, let me look at this little video. Oh, you know, then it goes on and on and on and on and on. Right? You know, shut it all down. You know, and read something cool like Emptiness Meditations book. That's a good book to read. You know, so if you understand how all of these things are impermanent, whatever people are yelling about in politics today will be different from what they're yelling about in politics in 3 weeks. But it'll be the same style of conversation. Oh, the liberals are upset with the conservatives, and oh, the conservatives are upset with the liberals. Blah, 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 blah. I can't believe. Blah, 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 blah. You're all idiots. You don't know how to take care of people. All of your lives are going to shit. You know, like it's literally the same thing over and over and over again. Okay. Depends which one you're listening to. If you're from one party and the other party's in power, the world's going to shit. But then when your party's in power, the other party tells the other half of the country that the world's going to shit. So what? Right? Oh, I want to know. No, you don't want to know that people are saying the same thing they were saying 10 years ago. Good luck. Right? Yes, it impacts your life. And yes, it's important to be informed. But do you have to be wanting to be informed in an obsessive, afflictive kind of way? Or my favorite is when I bring my phone to meditation because I'm using my timer app. And then it's like I'm in meditation, then automatically my hand goes, picks up the phone. It's like, oh, do I have any messages? That's the worst. For me, it's the worst. Like I have my phone there and I'm like, and actually I don't chant Om, but I'm just for effect, right? And I'm doing the preliminaries and I'm calming the body down. Then it's like, got to look at the messages. What? You know, move the phone out of the room. Like, you know, it's a, I don't know. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but it's nasty for me. Um, those are the six. Those are the six conditions for meditation. Let's see. Francisco worries about his calendar. Katya worries about her Excel sheets. Right? I'm worried about, do I have a new follower on Instagram? Come on, Tim. Did I get a new message? You know, anyway, enough. But these are the things we have to look at. And this is what Papankar Rinpoche says. Right. You have to look at your calendar for meetings that you don't have because you're meditating. Oh, I'm going to be late for the meeting that I wasn't going to go to, that I don't have to go to for 2 hours. I got to make sure it didn't change. Come on. I mean, my mind does this too. So just relax. It's okay. All right. So that was the first part, all the six conditions. Now we're going to move to the next part, which is the actual instructions. Oh, come on, Tim. Not this document. This document that has my notes in it. All right. we're going to retranslate a section that we already did, which we ended last class, but we're going to do it again because it's good luck to do it again. So wonderful to see all of your faces. You know that by turning on the cameras, I might call on you. So leave them on. Half of you turn them off. Let's see who's here. Okay, here we go. Here's your reading. And let's have, what is her name? I just saw you, Maria. Read these first lines.
Nipa shine drupcu nyuni uta we Nipa na pongduce giet tenpe ge tenpe gule chung pao. Wow.
Wow. Yes.
Wow.
Nice. Okay. Nipa Shinedrupchu Nuni. This now brings us to the second point, meaning there's actually, I think there's 6 points in this. Yeah, there's 6 points in this chapter. We're on the second section. So this brings us to the second point from above, the actual way to achieve Shine. All right. Shine Drupshul Nuni. So here's how we're going to do it, the actual way of doing it. Utale. So I know I messed this up in the last class. That's why we're doing it now, because I messed it up. So in distinguishing the middle way from the extremes, okay, which is a book by, anybody know? Because I had messed it up at the time, and now I fixed it. Uta. We have a German woman named Uta, but middle way, extremes, ta. Distinguishing the middle way from the extremes. It's a book by Maitreya. All right. The 5 problems, na, right? And there's 8 activities. Okay, but we'll start with the first line here. The cause that will bring shamatha, bring it to you. All right. The cause that will bring it to you. Jungwa. The cause that will bring all of this to you is avoiding the 5 problems. Okay. Avoiding the 5 problems, and then using or doing something duce with the 8 actions. So there's 8 different kinds of actions, and there's 5 problems. So typically we call it the 5 problems of meditation, and then the 5 antidotes. And so this is what to learn about what happens in meditation, you have to understand what all 5 of these problems are and how do you correct for them. So then you can recognize them. And then within them, there's parts within the parts, as in typical Galupa way. But if you understand the general characteristics of them, then you are able to then navigate them with the 8 activities or 8 types of actions. Duchege. All right. The next part from here, let's look at who's not a translator. How about Emily Chen? She will become a translator. Yeah, you can read this. I know you can do it. Nice. Jing. So Jing Tang Gupa.
찡당 그바당.
Nice.
뚜미 격된 뚜게대.
Che. So it just so it's Dumi Che.
뚜미체. 땅 운드 체대.
Nice.
떼다 니바 nga
Nar.
또 나
Na.
난dunto
Do
na
do. Good.
dodo. Thank you.
Nice. So we'll start from the end here. De means and has different meanings, but we're gonna talk about it here as like we accept, like in logic. We accept there are 5 problems. Okay. And what are those 5 problems? First one, lay low. And it sounds exactly like it sounds in English. Lay low. So for non-English speakers, nice job, Emily, by the way, on the reading. You know, lay low means literally in Tibetan means laziness. But it's a specific kind of laziness. And that specific kind of laziness is not meditating. You actually, the first problem of meditating is not meditating. Okay. So if you want to never have any of the other 4 problems, don't meditate. So if you never want to, if you don't care about the next 4 problems, that's okay. You don't have to learn them. Why? You will never learn about them because you'll never be meditating. So that's the first thing, is laziness as a kind of, I'm not going to meditate. The second one is damnak. Damnak nam. What does this literally mean? If anybody knows. And actually, it goes on to the second line. So that's why it gets a little confusing. It means forgetting the instructions. Okay. J is to forget. Nam dak nam is the instructions, right? The advices, the personal advices of your teacher, forgetting the instructions. But what that means is you got an instruction to do a meditation. I don't know. You got the instruction to do the Jesongkapa mantra. And then you start thinking about the Jorchu, or you start thinking about lunch, or you start thinking about your problems, right? You're not staying on the meditation object. You're forgetting the object. So that's the second problem, which you will know if you sit down to meditate. Of course, you sit down to meditate, and the first thing you do is you forget what you're meditating on. It's called it's called learning how to meditate. A lot of people will say, "Oh God, Tim, I'm such a bad meditator," and I said, "No, you're just watching your mind for the first time. You're a good meditator. You're sitting to meditate. Any meditation is a good meditation. You can make them better, of course, but any meditation is a good meditation." The next one, Jingwa and Gupa. Jingwa and Gupa. Jingwa is dullness. Gupa is agitation. Okay. So dull mind and busy mind. That's problem number 3. So it's technically 2 things in one problem. And if you're Kamala Shila, it's separate problems. But we'll talk about that later. So we have dumiche, which literally means not doing something, not taking action. Oops. What did I just do? Okay. Not taking action. All right. Failing to take action. We said last time we called it like doing nothing. That's the fourth problem. And then the fifth problem is doing something, taking action. So what this means is the fourth problem, not failing to take action, not doing something, means when there's something to correct that you don't correct it. Like you realize you have busy mind, or you realize you're having subtle dullness or something like that, but you don't do anything to correct it. You just let it keep going. And then the fifth problem is duce, is that you do try to fix something that isn't broken. The meditation's going great. It's going smooth. And then boom, you forget to do, like you actually do something that distracts from the goodness of the meditation. So when things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the fifth problem in the solution. All right. We're going to get into details of these. All right. Next line, Jolene.
제네 바 량 겐보
Nenpor.
년보 두제 게센 바 송라.
Nice. So what these lines are describing are the 5 problems that arise during meditation and how we rely upon tenpa, the 8 actions as antidotes. Ge 8, duce actions, not duce as in the 5th problem. Okay. Same word, different usage. The 8 corrective actions as antidotes to the problems. Nenpor. Okay. So what all of that was, is, in short, was just to say there's 5 problems and 8 antidotes. And now we're going to learn a little bit more about those. All right. Let me scroll down here. Francisco, can you read this next line here?
Sing Grupa Manani
Nice.
Yachodang Satse
Jamche.
Chamche Danche Sedang Du Ma Uma Gorin So Chungchen Mon Shu
Shung Chenmo.
Chungchemo Nan Shu Shumpa La Lakpa Mepane
Mepe na.
Mepena.
Yeah, so this sa at the end, so this is pa, and the sa changes the pronunciation to pe.
Pena.
Nice. Okay. Personal, so here that mennak are personal instructions that you get. Okay. They generally can be understood as instructions. Instructions on how to achieve tingzen, meditative concentration. So we have, here are all the advices, right? And where do we find these advices? In the great classics, Shung Chenmo Nam. All right. And what are some of those great classics where you can learn all about meditation? I don't know, Jamche. Does anyone know what that is? An abbreviation for? Ch is Dharma. Jam, who's that is an abbreviation for? The Dharma of Maitreya. Okay. And the Dharma of Maitreya is actually, this is the short version of the 5 great books of Maitreya. So in the 5 great books of Maitreya, which we were quoted above, right? One of them distinguishing the middle way from the extremes. All right. We can learn about that in Maitreya. Then we have the Sade, which is the group of works by Master Asanga on the spiritual levels. You wouldn't know all those things unless you know it. Okay. And then you have the Uma Gomrim, which refers to Master Kamala Shila's stages of meditation, Gomrim, of the middle way, Uma, etc. Sok. So basically, here's a list of places where you can learn all of these things. You can learn it from Maitreya. You can learn it from Asanga. You can learn it from Master Kamala Shila. All right. Those are all some really great places to learn them. And then Pabonka Rinpoche gives us some really wonderful advice right here. Let's have Persis get the karma to talk about the wonderful advice.
Rang check si mang ngạc đi lạc
Dita.
đi thao phú check na
Salne. Salne.
sáng nè講學識讀你
Good key.
good key.
Good key. Nice. This is a really, really important expression that shows up very, very frequently in this Lam Rim from Pabonka Rinpoche. Rangchak. Okay, Rangchak. What does it mean? It's a really sweet thing for a Lama to say. It means people like you and me. Okay. So the Lama is saying, people like you and me, Pabonka Rinpoche, one of the greatest Lamas of all of our time, the 20th century, who presented the entire Lam Rim, who also is the most important person in our Vajrayogini lineage, okay, wrote commentaries and practices. Dechen Nimpo, right? His secret name. And he's like, oh, by the way, people like you and me. He's basically saying, I'm just like the rest of, we're all the same schmucks together. We're all basically the same losers together. You're like, okay, whatever, Lama. When, my Lama is like, yeah, I suffer from this problem. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But it feels nice, right? It feels nice when your Lama is like, yeah, we're all the same, right? And it's beautiful to hear. It's beautiful to be suspicious of them, but it's also purposeful, right? Maybe they don't have the problems. Maybe they do, and that's your own seeds. That's the own emptiness of the Lama. Someone might see the Lama as a Buddha. Someone might just see the Lama as someone who is giving scriptural teachings, right? Some people might just be like, that's just some normal person reading a text, right? And some people are going to be like, yeah, whatever, this is stupid. I don't want to be here. Only 91 people and of 8 billion people in the world are here listening today. All right. Different seeds, you see. So the emptiness of the teacher is incredibly important. And for the love of seeds, please don't push your point of view onto other people. If you see someone as a Buddha, great. But someone else may not see it that way. Keep it close, keep it secret, keep it like it's your teacher, it's your seeds. Like, cherish your seeds. But if you see someone in a high holy way and somebody else doesn't see them that way, why? Why do they have different seeds? Why do you have seeds to see someone else that doesn't see them the same way you do? Okay. So think about it. Think about it, right? So Pabonka Rinpoche is like Rangchuk. People like you and me, guys like us, people like you and me, right? So, we need to seek out these great books. Okay. We need to do this. We need to do these. We need to seek out these great instructions. People like you and me, we have to do this. Gompa Shikha, to develop the purpose, to develop our meditation practice. All right. What does the word ki mean at the end of a sentence? But, okay. People like you and me need to seek out these great instructions to develop our practice. But let's find out what the but is. Natalia Pashtutina.
Della minpa junche po darshat choshu juna deta
Dedak.
dedak
Mm-hmm.
danmi tupa lama makak kat dan
Keitang.
keitan.
Okay, but let's pause right there. Just for everyone's pronunciation. So pa, and you add this little guy here, right? Apostrophe I, which it's not just that, but it changes the pronunciation to pay, which actually is the same pronunciation as this. Okay, mainly. Okay. So good luck when you're trying to understand things. And then there's lama, lame. Okay. All right, continue on.
Bebu jinbri yikchun sok janjunjik larti chenpo biepani.
Chepani.
Thank you.
Okay. So here's the but. We just said people like you and me need to seek out the great books. However, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go to the end of the sentence here, right? The personal vices of lamas who are incorrect, mainly inappropriate or incorrect, right? The advice is that this is an of lamas. Now you have to understand that this means who now, who are incorrect, okay? You know, the supposed instructions of a spiritual guide. All right. Let me just make sure I have my notes right here. Where is it? I put great faith in, right? They put great faith in those people, okay? And so they look at these great books, okay? They study the explanations of these great books. And they just think, whatever, okay? They just think that they're just historical books, or they just think they're not actual instructions, right? They find those books and they're like, yeah, those are just kind of historical books. And then they go find charlatans. That's a great translation for this. Okay. They find other spiritual teachers who don't teach it correctly. And I think charlatan is a really negative word because it's not that negative in the Tibetan. But people go and they find someone that they like and they don't check out what they're teaching. This is a really, really deep teaching here, is that you have to explore what is it that the person is actually teaching. And are they teaching something correct? Or are they teaching, something incorrect, right? So they think those books are like, well, they may not be actual instructions. So they put their faith in some mistaken teacher who actually contradicts what those classical books say. Like, oh, Maitreya wasn't a good meditator and didn't know what to do. But you have to think about it. Oh, well, why is Maitreya the authority? You got to think about it too, right? So they put their faith there in that teacher, or they put their faith in, I like this, Beombum, like Sumbum. Beombum are like short works, all right? Yichung, right? Like short notes, right? And then Chung Chung Shik. And I wasn't able to figure this out entirely without some help. But it's basically like, they're looking at short memoirs from historical books, or they're looking at some transcript of some informal teaching that someone random gave. All right. They put their faith in these non-authoritative texts that they can't establish the authority for, or they put their faith in someone who you can't establish the authority of, and they just sort of dismiss the instructions. And you have to think about it and you have to evaluate it for yourself. Are these the instructions that you want? Right? Are these instructions that are here in this book, are they what you want? Okay. We'll finish up with the next line, which is just it's a quote from the Lam Rim Chemo. How about Anastasia?
Yot sar me zao bar me sar zao be nye pei na me parjib lama lamrin chen moi shine keeper kapchik chadu sumpatain.
How did you pronounce this?
War.
No,
I
no,
think
no.
I said bar.
No, you actually said it correctly.
Oh, okay.
It was correct, bar.
Bar,
So
okay.
sometimes you have to know when it's bar and when it's war. And in this case, you were correct. Okay. So Lam Rim Chemo, the greatest Lam Rim of all time, the great books on the steps of the path by the great J Lama, who is Jason Kappa. Just a nice short way of saying it. And in a versed interlude, okay? Where are my notes here? Right? A versed interlude, all right? Something Warkab is like an interlude. Sikche is in verse, all right? Which you just oftentimes find in these texts, just to kind of take a little break. So in this versed interlude, within the discussion of Shine, Shamatha, J Rinpoche says this, and this is fun. So first, oh my God, I'm having an issue, right? Hold on. I need to make sure I'm doing this correctly. Shell, okay. You don't look where things are, and then you go searching for things where they're not. Say it again. You don't look where things really are, and then you spend your time looking for things where they never were. So I think it's a very inverse, it's a very nice thing that Jason Kappa says. Like, you refuse to look where something actually is, and then you waste your time looking where things are not. Like going to teachers who aren't actually going to be able to take you to the final, to the final end. Like, you're looking for teachers of meditation whose meditation doesn't work. And you got to evaluate it for yourself. This isn't sectarian in the sense of, oh, you should do our system and not do someone else's system. That's not what it's saying. The idea, though, is look for something that's actually going to help you and do all the evaluation yourself. But don't look for things where they're not going to help you. Okay. And that's where we'll pause for today with that inspiring quote. Stop looking for things where they're not and start looking for things where they are, instead of the other way around. All right, cool. Thank you for joining class number 1. Here we go deep into Lam Rim. Thank you all very much for joining. Thank you, translators. Thanks, Tech. Thanks, ACI, for supporting this class. Thank you to the Mixed Nuts and Diamond Cutter Classics as well. We will see you later, everyone. Have a great day, evening, whatever time it is. And let's say goodbye.
Thank you, Tim Lo.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so
Bye,
much,
gracias.
everyone.
Dankeschön, auf
Bye.
Wiedersehen.
Thank you.
большое.
Thank you，拜拜，
Thank you, Teacher Team.
谢谢老师，
拜拜，谢谢老师。
Thank you.
谢谢。
谢谢 Tim 老师，谢谢翻译，谢谢，拜拜，晚安，晚安。
嗯哼。谢谢爸爸。